Everyone, let's start with the chanting. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Gananam Tva Ganpatigam Havamahi Kavim Kavinam Upamasravastamam Jeshtarajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspata Anand Srinvanmurti Sadhanam. Om Shri Mahaganpataye Namah. Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada. Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwara Gurureva Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Tasmai Shri Guru. And the Manglachar. वासुदेवेन्द्र योगीन्द्रम् नत्वा ज्ञानप्रदं गुरुम् मुमुक्षूणां हितार्थाय तत्त्वबोधोऽभिधीयते तत्त्वबोधोऽभिधीयते. Hari Om everyone, we are starting this class on Tattwabodha. We have finished the part where we saw the unity between the individual and the cosmos, the unity of the whole cosmos as one living, breathing organism. And so because of that, we realize that oneness, we realize our duties towards the universe, our duties to move in synchronization with the universe, so that this Prakriti, this nature which nurtures us, will keep on nurturing us and nourishing us, while we also have a similar reciprocal duty to nurture it back. So when this when we learn to live in synchronization with nature, we create a beautiful environment and we live in this world with a liberated mindset. That liberated mindset also comes from going one step further into what we call the Ekatvam, the unity of the individual and the total in the form of the essence, right? First of all, the unity was the individual is a part of the total, but is one with the total, inseparable. But at the level of the essence, what is the essence? The essence is Atma, consciousness, or more properly, existence, consciousness, bliss. Satchit Anand Rupa Atma, that is the consciousness. So we saw earlier that this Atma has what we call projected the whole universe, right? So Atma cannot become divided into parts. Obviously, it is infinite. So if it were to divide into parts, then it would become limited, because then it would have to change, right? So it cannot change. It is changelessness. It is changeless. So because this is changeless, that means the projection can only be possible. There cannot be a real creation. And in any way also we see by the laws of nature, by law of conservation of mass and energy, nothing can be created. So this projection is the way of the universe, and we can always understand that there is no final cause of anything that we see in the universe. You keep on going back and back, and we'll keep on going in cycles, round and round. Father, son, tree, seed, and so on. So when there is no end to the cycle, that means this is not real. It is clear, right? In mathematics, it's called the projection of the letter of the number, the imaginary number I. It will move in circles. So the imaginary number represents the projection of the universe. We saw a small page where I showed it. I'll just bring it back. So we saw it last time, just repeating it for those who weren't there. So this is the whole universe. This is the whole Atma. without any boundaries. The boundaries you see belong to the page, but in Brahman there is no boundary and there is no division, no thoughts, no variation. And when that Brahman projects the universe, then the whole universe is projected from within it by its power of Maya. And in this way, the Maya projects the what we call visible universe. So this visible universe consists of two levels. One is what we call the jiva or the individual, and the second is the paramatma or the total. So this reflecting medium is what is going to reflect the consciousness. The rays of consciousness fall on this reflecting medium, and when they are reflected, then this entity called Paramatma at the total level and the Jivatma. We have seen the universe is projected first through the most subtle part, which is Akash. Then from Akash, Vayu comes, then Agni, then Jala, and then the solid part, Prithvi. Right? So this, from the solid part, Prithvi, comes the individual's gross body, Sthul Sharir, our Sthul Sharir. And from the subtle part comes the subtle body, Sukshma Sharir. And from the causal part, from the most subtle part, which is the causal part, is the causal body. And similarly for Paramatma also, the whole universe, at the level of the whole universe as his body, is called Virat. So Virat is the consciousness at the visible level. Then Hiranyagarbha is the consciousness at the subtle level, and then Antaryami is the consciousness at the causal level. So just gross, subtle, and causal body in the individual, they relate to the Sthul Prapancha or the Sthul universe, the Sukshma Prapancha, and the Sukshma and the Karan Prapancha of the Ishwar level. So in both cases, we have only reflecting mediums which are being projected by Maya. Maya has projected these. It is out of the power of Maya that all these are beginning to appear. And when the consciousness is reflected on these reflecting mediums, then we give different names at the total level. For the whole one, it is for the whole universe, it is what we call Paramatma, and for the individual, it is Jivatma. And then we gave three different names to all of them according to the different levels also. For Sthul, Sukshma, and Karan, at the total level, it's Virat, then Hiranyagarbha at the subtle level, and then uh, Antaryami at the causal level. Same for the Jivatma also. We have at the level of the gross body, it is Vishwa. Then at the level of the subtle body, it is Tejasaha, and then causal body level, it is Pragya. So don't be confused by the number of names. They all represent the consciousness reflecting of different all the different bodies, and that is why we give a different name. And together also we give a unified name, Jivatma and Paramatma, right? But all of this is what? All of this is a projection of the consciousness only, right? Or projection of Atma only, in more correct terms. So Atma ने सब कुछ project किया. So if Atma is projected, that means the reflecting medium is also Atma, and the consciousness that is reflected from that is also Atma. But because of the reflection and the reflection coming of this reflecting medium, we think of ourselves as that reflecting medium. That is called Ahankara. Ahankara is we associate ourselves with that reflecting medium. So I begin to think I am the body, I am the mind, and so on. So this difference is not tolerated by Vedanta or our Shastra. So what they say, the Shastra says there is no difference between the original Jiva, because he is also Atma, infinite consciousness, and Paramatma, he is also infinite consciousness. He is also infinite Atma. So both are in fact Atma only. We have just given a different name, just like the space. The space is one, but we call it room space, office space, the space in a pot, in a glass, or any kind of vessel, and so on. So that is how we give different names to this very same space. Similarly, that Atma also we give different names. So, what does Shastra do? It seeks to unite. So, when it seeks to unite, it gives us a what we call Mahavakyam. So, Mahavakyam is not a very big or long sentence. It is a very short sentence, but it is a powerful sentence. It is a very, very powerful sentence. It opens our real nature to us. And once we know our true nature and we are very fixed in that thought, when we don't deviate from that thought, then we are on the road to liberation. Then we are liberated. We are liberated now and here also, but we don't know it. Because of our ignorance, we think we are the body. The moment the ignorance is lifted, I see myself shining clearly as Atma only. I am only Atma. This body is merely a what we call refraction or a reflection. It is merely a projection. So this statement that we call Mahavakya, it indicates the unity. It is indicative of the unity. So what is it? In a way, it is what we call an equation. Like in maths, we have an equation. It is an equation. So, how do we write an equation? When we write an equation, then we have an equal sign, and on both sides we have different values, right? So, if I say that uh, according to the Mahavakya that we will be taking up, this is said in what one of the Upanishads from the Samaveda, which is the Chandogya Upanishad. So Chandogya Upanishad, this Mahavakya is Tat Tvam Asi, right? Tat is that Brahman or that infinite consciousness. Tvam, you, the individual. Huh, Asi, you are. So that thou art, that you are. Hmm. So this is the teacher telling. So it's a very beautiful story in the Chandogya also. Very interesting to read that. It's about the father who is teaching his son Shvetaketu. So when Shvetaketu comes back from the Gurukul, then he learns that the father sees that the student is looking very haughty, like very proud that he knows a lot of things, right? So then he says, oh, son, it seems that you have been given the wrong knowledge. He says, why? I know so many things. I've learned so many geography, chemistry, physics, maths, or whatever. So I also topped the school. So he said, that is fine, but knowledge should make you humble always. If it hasn't made you humble, that means you are not on the right path. So he asked, did they teach you about the one thing that which when known, everything else is known? So he said, no, dad, I never been taught this kind of thing. So he said, okay, that means you have a lot to learn. So he said, I will give you that knowledge, but first you have to prepare. So he gave him 15 days during which he will have to fast. So in those 15 days, Shvetaketu had to fast. You have to you have to suffer a lot. You have to make your mind strong before you can become fit for receiving the knowledge, right? And he asked him to keep chanting the Gayatri Mantra, Om Bhu Bhuva Swaha. So when Shvetaketu was doing it, so it's like, if I don't know, we'll discuss this later also. There are so many yagyas we have. So one is Darsha Purnamas yagya. So that is actually we call a vratam. In that, what happens? The phases of the moon are divided into 15 phases, 15 days. So each day you eat, reduce your food. So you divide, like if you eat 4 chapati, you divide into 4 each, 16. And then you take 16 on the full food on the first day, keep reducing by one part. And then on the last day, you have to eat a very little. And similarly with your water also, you have to reduce. So that vratam he did. And 15 days he fasted. So when he came back, he was feeling very weak. So the teacher was trying to ask him something. He would not be able to reply. He was so weak. So he said, now you understand that first of all, You have to have the physical strength to learn something, right? So go and have your food. Then we'll start. So he sent him to have his food. And then he gave him this Updesha, Tat Tvam Asi. That consciousness you are. So now this just the sentence is not enough, right? So the teacher went and the father went and kept repeating. He repeated the same thing 9 times. Each time Shwetketu would say, I'm trying to understand, but it's still not very clear. So again, he would give an example. So if I go into that, I will have to finish the whole Upanishad. But I can tell you one short one. Like he said, okay, bring me a glass of water. And then now put some salt into it, right? So he says, he puts the salt and then he mixes it. Then he says, take a small sip from the top. And he sips. And he says, how is it? He says, salty. Then he says, okay, now pour off some of it from there. Then take a small sip from the next layer. Then next, and then everywhere it's the same salt. So he says, the same way, the same existence that exists within you is there in every part of the universe. So, and that existence is within you also, and that existence you are. Tat Tvam Asi. So that is the story of Shwetketu, where this Mahavakyam was taught to him first. So Tat represents the infinite essence. That infinite essence is Brahman. We give it a name. So be very, very careful here. A lot of times, no, we use what we call a Christian concept or what we call Abrahamic concept of God, where God is a creator and is separate from the beings. So we say everything is God. Everything is not that God, the creator God. Everything is Brahman, the infinite reality. That we have to learn to separate. So if someone argues explaining this whole thing is not possible. When they will have the opportunity, they will learn this knowledge. But till then, let them to follow whatever they like. But so for us also, we have a concept of Ishvara that represents the power that runs the universe, where he is also the material cause. Ishvara is also the material cause. He is also the what we call efficient cause. So the nimitta karanam, efficient cause, and the upadan karanam, both he is only. So he doesn't have to create something. He himself becomes all these things. So that is there, that concept is of God in that way. But when you're talking about Tattwamasi, we are talking about Brahman, the consciousness or the essence of everything, right? So this Brahman, this essence, so when we have to go into this knowledge, because knowledge will always liberate us, knowledge will set us free. Until the knowledge is there, we will not be able to answer the questions that are always troubling us. Why we came into this world, and all those questions. Why I've been given so much tough times, or why someone has a good body, someone has a bad body, someone's body is defective. So all these are dependent on what we call karma phalam and our wrong identification. So because of our wrong identification, we tend to identify with the body, and then the dharma, the properties of the body, they start to affect us. We think of the dharma as our own only. So because of that, we get into trouble. So there is a story here why the, this knowledge can only be given to one who is willing to receive or fit to receive. So there was once a swan, Hans, and the swan once met an owl. So they were just sitting together, talking about the different. They were chatting, talking about the weather, talking about seasons and everything, whatever other normal topics of conversation for some strangers who have just met, right? So when they were talking these, then what happened was the Swan said, "It's really so hot out here today. Why this?" So the owl also said, "Yes, really very hot. I'm sweating like anything." So the Swan said, "It's because the sun is fully out in all its glory." She said, "Sun?" Owl said, "What sun? There is no such thing called sun. What? rubbish you are talking. So it is hot because it is hot. There is some change in season. He said, no, it is the sun is out there. There is so much light coming from it. That light is heating up everything. And so he said, light? What light? There is no such thing called light. So the swan is very worried. Why doesn't he understand? But he doesn't know that the owl cannot see. And so the owl said, no, look, let us bring some more people. I'll call my friends. And then we'll see that who is right. So he brings all his friends. So obviously they are also सब उल्लू ही है. So they all come together and he repeats the same thing. And they all say, no, 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 you are wrong, you are wrong. And they said, let's beat him up. What an idiot. He's trying to fool us. He's leading us to the wrong path. And so they all come together. And then the swan has to run away and escape somehow. Right? So you cannot give the knowledge to those who are not yet fit to receive it. And the one who is fit only will be able to see the light. So that light is opened to us by the Guru, by the teacher. He opens it up through the teaching of the Shastra. Shastra is the main. Shastra is giving the knowledge because this knowledge is not available to us normally, right? So why do we say Shastra? Shastra here means Veda. So Veda is the giver of the knowledge. So Veda is not something that can be, we can say, written by any man. It cannot be written by a person because then every person has what we call different faults, right? So we have pakshapat dosh. Pakshapat is there. We tend to favor one thing and not favor another. Then we have what we call vipralipsa, where we where we are engaged somewhere, and when we are engaged somewhere, then we are not able to look at the other side. Then we have karna pato, which is the third one, where something that I cannot, when I perceive through my sense organs, the perception depends on the sharpness of my sense organs, right? So all these are not there because the Veda has to give the right karma phalam for every karma, right? The Veda decides all the karma phalam. Everything is given there. So because it is deciding that it cannot be written by a human being. It is definitely a knowledge of the higher level available with God, Ishvara, and humans can hear it when they surrender to that God. So we all have to surrender to that God, and that God only can give the Vedic knowledge or the knowledge of my own inner self. But that knowledge is something that is not easily directly accessible to us. So someone who has connected there, a rishi, a guru, through that person we have to learn. Right. So then it goes down through what we call the Guru Parampara. So one guru teaches others, the students become the guru later on. So that is the Guru Parampara. So we'll just look at the text now first. So when this knowledge is to be sought, the teacher is telling about this, then the student naturally has certain questions. So he says, the Guru has said, Tasmat Karanat Jiveshwarayoho Bhed Buddhi Na Svikaryaha. He says, we cannot accept that Bhed Buddhi. I cannot accept that this essence of the Jiva is that of Atma, and the essence of Ishvara is also of Atma. So that Bhed I cannot accept, right? So now the student says he is not able to accept. He says, Nanu sa ahankarasya. So I am with ahankar. So I am associated with this body. So my sphere of activity is limited to whatever this body can do or wherever this sense organs can use. Then I am kinchit jasya. So I have very little knowledge. I am a jivasya. I am a jiv. I am a limited individual being. And how do I compare that to Nirahankarasya, that Ishvara who is without Ahankar? Because if he is with Ahankar, then he will get trapped in the world himself. He will not remain Ishvara. So he is Nirahankara. Sarvagyaha. So he knows everything in the universe. So Ishvara is omniscient. We are deficient. We have very less knowledge. So it is kinchit yasya. So that knowledge of ours is very limited. We don't even know what we are going to do the next day. He knows everything about the past and futures. So, so that Sarvagyasya Ishwarasya is known through the union is, as you're saying, the Guru is saying, is known by the Mahavakya Tattvam Asi iti Mahavakya. By that Mahavakya, it is being described by you. The Katham Ved Buddhi Syat, how can I have Abhed Buddhi, or the knowledge that is of oneness with that huge Ishvara? Because Viruddha Dharma Akrantatva, we have both different natures. Dharma is the nature, the prakriti, the nature, the essence of everything. So we are not essence, it is the properties. Huh? So whatever the properties, whatever the nature of a thing, that cannot leave itself. So I have different nature, Ishvara is of different nature. So this thing is very difficult for a normal human thought to process. It is taught through the scriptures only, and the logical basis is established through the scriptures. And of course, when the guru teaches, he further simplifies it for the student, right? So that knowledge is being, when it is being taught, then the teacher gives him the process by which you understand how that consciousness is infinite, how existence is infinite, and so how they both can be one only, they both cannot be separate. So this union has to be understood in the form of what we call abheda. Abheda. Abheda means there is no difference between Jivatma and Paramatma. So that what it is basically what we call a misconception. And what can a misconception can go away? How? Only through right knowledge. So this right knowledge from the Vedic scriptures is called Vedanta, what is taught in the final part of the Veda, which we call the uh, Upanishads or Vedanta. And of course, the Ved, we saw four parts. The Upanishads are Gyan part, the Aranyaks are teaching Upasana, the Brahmanas are teaching karma, or how to do different yagyas or action. And but the mantra bhag is the main one, the Sahita, the mantra, where all the three parts are covered. So every mantra that we see in the Veda will have three meanings, and one is the vibrational power. The vibrational power is obtained only on chanting, and once you inquire into the vibrations, maybe one day I'll teach one mantra, and it will take a long time though, but at least we'll go into one mantra and explore all the aspects, the vibrational aspect, then the karmic aspect. So the karmic aspect can be learned through surrender. When we go internally, surrender to the Lord and ask Him to teach us, He will give us the karmic meaning of that mantra. But if we want to take the longer path, we can study all the Brahmanas. And we study there, and from there, the karmic meaning will slowly start to be revealed. Then we study all the Aranyaks, and then the Upasana meaning will start to be revealed. And then we study all the Upanishads, the Jnana meaning of all the mantras will be revealed. But if you surrender, all three meanings will be revealed internally. That is what the rishis say, right? So there is a text which we call the Niruktaha. Niruktaha gives different meanings of the same word for the Vedic verses. So through Nirukta also we can understand how same words with the same words can have different meanings. So that is the subject matter of Nirukta, right? So Nirukta and Nikhantu, two texts, both common, both to come together. So in this Vedic literature, we are taught the main knowledge is, final knowledge is what? Jivatma, Paramatma, Ekyam, and that is revealed by the Mahavakya. So if Mahavakya is what we call an equation, then as I said earlier also, in the equation there is an equal sign, and then on both sides there will be different values, right? So if I write 8 is equal to 8, is it an equation? Is 8 equal to 8 an equation? No, right? Why? Because there is nothing to be proved here. It is evident only. So where it is evident, then we do not need an equation is what we'll say. It is very clear, so we don't need to put that equal sign. But can we say 8 is equal to 9? We cannot. We cannot say 8 is equal to 9 because we know 8 is not equal to 9. So they are evidently different. So thus, when two things are evidently different, equation is not possible. Equation is not possible. And when two things are evidently the same, then two things are same, equation is not possible or not required. Equation is not required. 8 is equal to 8, you don't need an equation to write that down. So it will be only something that is different. So let us say you write an equation 100 divided by 50 minus 1. So that answer you solve, it will be 1 is equal to 3 minus 2. That is also 1. So that is an equation, right? Both sides. Or you can use variables. So that is another part. So when we use an equation, both parts will be different. So that is how the world appears to us. Paramatma and Jiva, they appear both different, very, very different. So on one side there is 100, 50, other side there are small numbers. One side there is a minus symbol. Another side you can also use a plus symbol to reach the same answer, right? So in this way, in equation we'll have different symbols, different numbers, but ultimately the essence that is there will have to be the same, right? So in this way, we have to enter into the equation by understanding that whatever the superficial differences are there, they will have to be removed. So in our case, what are the superficial differences? They are the projection. Superficial differences are the RC1, RC2, RC3, RC4, RC5, RC6 we saw, and the reflecting mediums we saw. So all those represent the projected universe. So this projected part is a distortion, right? Projected part is a distortion. Just like a mirror, which is concave or convex, can distort your face, but your original face is the same. So we saw that in the last class. So that distortion we have to negate. That distortion, then only the equation is possible, right? So we'll just go into the equation and we'll see. So so the teacher is very kind. He is clarifying so that the student doesn't get confused. He says, "Na, whatever you are saying is not right. Sthula sukshma sharira bhimani tvam patvacyartha upadhi vinirmuktam samadhi dasha sampannam shuddham chaitanyam tvam pad lakshyartha." So this uh, upadhi that is there in both the cases, that upadhi is to be removed, right? So what is this upadhi? Upadhi is our association with our instrument, the instrument through which we function. This is the our three bodies. So always remember that our joys and sorrows, sukh and dukh, are due to identification with our bodies. So whenever you have an identification with someone, there only you will have sukh or dukh. So if it is your father, your children, or your friends, you have an association with them. So they will give you the most sorrow and also most joy also. So they will take you up and down in this universe. But where there is someone you don't know, that person is not going to affect you. It is where that association is there, then that association ties us down. It becomes a bandhana. It becomes a knot. That knot is what we call agyan granthi. Agyan granthi. That knot of agyan that has to be cut. It has to be cut by knowledge. So Sudarshan Chakra of Krishna or Vishnu, it cuts. What is Sudarshan? Sudarshan, a beautiful view, beautiful revelation. So that revelation, it cuts. And what does the Sudarshan Chakra do? It cuts off my head, cuts off the head of Shishupal. So it cuts off the head of any other wrongdoer. So what is that? It is cutting off the ego. The moment we cut off the ego, drop the ego, that Sudarshan is revealed. That knowledge of Ishvara, the knowledge of my reality is revealed. So here we take some more time to discuss two words here. What are these two words? There is what we call in the first sentence, Tvam Pad Vachyartha. And then in the last word, what is there? Lakshyartha. So there is what we call Vachyartha and Lakshyartha. So let us understand these two first. Okay. So Vachyartha and Lakshyartha represent the nature of any word or any description, right? So whenever we have to describe something, what we have is firstly is what we call the vachyartha. Vachyartha, what is the literal meaning of something, right? So vachyartha. So to describe something, we need a word, a padam, right? And that padam will reveal it will point us to that object. The object of that will be the word. That word is revealing some object. So that object is the padarth. Padam will reveal the padarth. So when I say to you that there is a table lying over there. So instantly, what do you understand? You do not understand the word only. You understand the object, right? The object is revealed to you when I said. So if I bring to you, I say bring the table. Then you won't come chanting table, 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 table. No, you will bring the table. So you understand clearly the object that is being indicated by that. So that is called the vachyartha. So different words indicate different objects. Different objects are then understood by the intellect, and then we do what we call vyavahara, interaction with the object. So vyavahara has to come when a word is associated with an object. This association then helps us to go for the interaction, right? So that word is the direct meaning of the word is called vachyartha. But then there is another part, another way of which something can be represented, and that is what we call the lakshyartha. So sometimes the word can indicate and what we call indicated meaning, right? So like in the case of the individual also, we call ourselves as I. But in that I, we include what? Consciousness, Sthul Sharir, Sukshma Sharir, Karan Sharir, right? So when I say I'm writing something. So do you mean there the consciousness or the Sukshma Sharir? You mean the hand. Hand is writing. My hand is writing, right? So there, when you're saying I am writing, actually you are only pointing to a part of the body. So that by that you are indicating. So that is the lakshar of that sentence. In that sentence, even you are saying I, you are indicating the hand. Okay? Understood? So when we indicate something in that way, for same way for all the other things. Huh? So when you say I am fat, then what you are talking about? You are talking about the gross body, right? I am fat, I'm ugly, I'm thin, whatever. So I'm fit, slim, whatever. So whenever you're talking in this way, you're talking about the body. Then whenever you're saying I'm hungry, I'm thirsty. So what do they belong to? They belong to your pranamaya portion. So because of your prana only, you are hungry or thirsty. So you are talking about your prana. My prana is hungry, my prana is thirsty, right? Then you say I am happy, I am sad, I am angry. So what are you talking about? You're talking about your mind, right? Your mind, right? So in this way, you are saying I am angry, but actually it is the mind that is angry. But we automatically assume that the lakshyartha is the mind, whereas I am saying I. So lakshya is the top. Lakshya is the what we call the goal, the final goal. So whatever the goal that we have to reach, so the word can take us to a goal which may not be the whole entity, it may be the partial entity. So like if I say, I ask you, bring me a banana, so you will bring the whole banana. But then I say, eat the banana. So you will peel off the banana shelf and you will banana skin and then eat. You will not eat the skin. Not be like Kanaji. Kanaji went to Vidura's house and his wife was so enamored. Bhagwan has come to my house, and she took a banana and offered him. She peeled it off and she gave him the skin. and threw away the banana. And then Bhagwan, Dayavan, as he ate that skin only, right? So that is his glory. He sees the love with which it is offered. But what we are talking about is the Lakshartha was what? The Lakshartha was the banana, the the banana's inner part, not the skin. So whenever we are talking about Lakshartha, we are using that to indicate certain part of an object. So these differences are what are alluded to, what we are referring to here in this Mahavakya, where what is the Mahavakya? Let's go back. Tat Tvam Asi. So that thou art. So now here again the doubt of the student is surfacing. The student is saying, I is the limited jiva. How can I even compare with the Ishvara? Remember, uh, Ekyam is between Jiva and Ishvara, not between the consciousness. Consciousness is same. My consciousness, Brahman consciousness, same. Right? So when we are talking about equating, where is the error? Where is the mistaken identity? The mistaken identity is that level of Jiva. And for Ishvara also, the mistaken identity is not with Ishvara, it is with us. We think of him as the ruler of the universe. So as long as we think of ourselves as Jiva, Ishvara is there. The moment we stop thinking of ourselves as Jiva, our freedom becomes infinite. Then there is no Ishvara. Then everything is Brahman only. Right? So in that, we have to reach the state of Tattwabodha Asi, to become that. We have to become that. We have to understand that. We have to make it my nature, make it my behavior. So that every part, so everything that we do, we'll see later in karma also. Whatever we do, it comes into two categories: karma and kriya. So every karma is not a kriya, and every kriya is not a karma. But there are some karmas that can be kriya also. So if I'm doing something mechanically, writing, or if I'm just even breathing, eating, so those are natural instincts of my. Wherever there is a thought or sankalpa behind an action, that is called karma, right? So whenever we are to reach into this thought of Brahman, it does not mean I have to think whole day, I am Brahman, I am Brahman, I am Brahman. No, not that way, right? So whenever I start a kriya, I start an activity with a sankalpa, then I see it is the Lord, it is that consciousness which is doing it. I am not doing it. I am not the doer. And I surrender and I keep doing that activity. And in that surrender is inherent the knowledge that I am Brahman. That Brahman is the only reality. Nothing else exists. He is the one who is doing everything. Or whatever is being done is being appeared to be done by the body. And it is the Lord only who is doing through us, doing through his projections. I am just a projection which is temporary and not even real. So when this thought is there, then I keep doing my daily duty. But at every sankalpa, I don't bring in my own ego. I don't bring in my own desire. I want this. So that at every sankalpa, I'll ask, I want to do this. Is it for some selfish motive of mine? Then no, I will not do this. So my karma also will become beautiful, right? And yet in the same way also I'll be remembering my true nature also. At every stage, I am Brahman. So how should I act? How should I do this activity? That thought. Then I do that activity. During that activity, I'm allowed. I'm allowed to do. I'm going to sleep. I don't have to wake up every 5 minutes and start chanting Aham Brahmasmi or Tattwamasi. Tattwamasi I can't chant. That Tattwamasi is from the teacher. So that is why Tattwamasi is called the Upadesha Vakya. Upadesha Vakya. It is being said by the teacher because the student does not know yet, right? So when the student learns and then accepts the truth of that statement, then it becomes what we call the Anubhav Vakya, the sentence of experience. So that is Aham Brahmasmi. I am that Brahman. So I am not different from that Brahman. Right? So in this way, we'll not go into all Mahavakyas to will be too detailed. But for now, this when this sentence that we are holding on to, then we have reached the stage of understanding Lakshyartha and Vachyartha. Right? So now let's go back to the text. So when we go to this, what does it say? Tvam pad vachyartha is what? Sthula sukshma sharir abhimani. So there is the direct meaning and there is the indirect meaning. So in both these cases, for this equation to be true, for the equation to be correct, what will have to happen? We have to look at the indicated meaning, because the direct meaning is not fitting. Direct meaning, we have seen clearly that the Jiva and the Paramatma are not same. It is clear to us. So that means it has to be the Vachyartha or the indirect meaning. It has to be the Lakshartha or the indirect meaning, sorry. So that Lakshartha has to be grasped or understand. So how can the Lakshartha be what is the common point in the Lakshartha and what are the differences? Negate the differences, retain the similarity. Negate the differences, retain the similarity. So what are the differences for the individual? Sthula, Sukshma, Sharir, Abhimani. My association is with the Sthula, Sukshma, and you can add Karan here. It's not written. It's for brevity or short, keeping the sentence short. So Sthul, Sukshma, Karan, Sharir, Abhimani is the Jiva. Right? The Jiva is the Sthul, Sukshma, and Karan, Sharir, Abhimani. But what is because of what is the Abhimana? It is the consciousness. Without the consciousness, there cannot be Abhimana. Without consciousness, there cannot be any thought. Nothing can happen. Right? So that Abhimani, that consciousness that is thinking by error or because of Ajnanam of itself as the Sthul, Sukshma and Karan Sharir, that is the Tvampad Vachyartha. That is the Tvampad Vachyartha, the indicated the direct meaning. But what is the indicated meaning? Upadhi vinirmuktam. I remove the upadhis. What are the upadhis? Sthul sharir, sukshma sharir, karan sharir. These are the upadhis. These are the distortions. These are the projections of Maya. So I remove them. I do not remove them. I don't die. I don't kill myself. I mentally separate myself. So what we call the uh, vivekaha. I am mentally separating. Which dhatu? To be able to separate, right? So I am separating the rice from the dal. They have become mixed, so I have to separate them. Then only I will be able to cook them. Otherwise, it will be a khichdi. So khichdi is going to be really big problem. So we have to separate them. So upadhi vinirmuktam we have to make. We have to separate the upadhi and retain what? Samadhi dasha sampannam shuddha chaitanyam. That is Tvampad Lakshartha. So for that Tvampad, that Brahman, the Jiva, the Tvampad Lakshartha is what? The indicated meaning is what? Shuddha Chaitanyam, the pure consciousness. So that consciousness actually is the Lakshartha. That you have to retain. Upadhi you have to separately keep aside. Keep it in a different vessel. And now retain only your identity as Shuddha Chaitanya. So other word is what? Samadhi Dasha Sampannam. So Samadhi represents the state whereby in a state of meditation, I am able to focus and understand the Mahavakya and understand the thought behind it, see myself in that thought, and then slowly drop away all the thoughts that are intervening. So what we call this state in the Vedantic meditation, we have to meditate in a way where I am not making my mind empty. That empty meditation is not being taught. So in that we go for this samadhi, whereby I go into it with the knowledge that I am that Brahman, I am Brahmasmi. So with that knowledge, if I have to go internally, then with that, I will have to negate everything. Negate the three bodies that have been negated. So in the way whole universe, I have to negate. So then what will be left is the original consciousness only. Now that consciousness is not an object. So it is not what we call grasped by the thought. You cannot describe it by thought. It is beyond words. So there the word Aham Brahmasmi also will drop. It will drop. And only your true nature will shine within us. You don't need words to express that. That Samadhi Dasha will come from total clarity. That total clarity will come from a lot of scriptural understanding and again and again retrospecting, meditating on the meanings, removing all the doubts through mananam, and then finally what we call nididhyasanam, the final stage. Nididhyasanam represents the final fixing of the knowledge that happens in the samadhi dasha. So that can be, it need not necessarily be in closed eyes. We saw in earlier class also, but not in Tattwabodha, of course. So Samadhi is also of different types. But the final stage of Samadhi, it represents where I am absorbed into my true nature only. No other interfering thought is coming in between. So then I'm possessed with a calm, a beautiful, thoughtless state and I come out of that also, I am then always happy. I am always in the state of ananda or joy. So that is samadhi dasha sampanna. It comes after a lot of practice when we have removed all irritating thoughts. So if we see the system of yoga, so in yoga there is a eightfold path. So ashta. So all those eight parts are there. So yam, niyam, asan, pranayam, pratyahar, dharana, dhyan, and samadhi. So all these stages we have to go through. So yama represents all my external disciplines. So I have to discipline myself. Satya, ahimsa, brahmacharya, aste, aparigraha. These are the five. So I will not go again into all these details, but they help us. Yam and niyam. Niyam is the inner discipline. So swadhyay, Ishwar, uh, Ishwar Arpanam or Ishwar Pranidhanam. So Shauch, Santosh, Tap, Shauch, Santosh, Swadhyay, Tap, Ishwar Pranidhan. All these five represent the inner disciplines. So when outside and inside I'm disciplined, then I can move it to the next stage where I'm able to sit calm. So asan, I'm able to sit in a calm pose where I am able to meditate for a long time. So that asana will have to include all the different asanas we do in yoga asana. So that will strengthen my body so that after 10 minutes I am not hurting on this side and bending like this or bending like that, taking all kind of weird positions. So that will come from lot of practice. So asana, then pranayam, my breath, it becomes irregular from time to time. So with practice of pranayam, I am able to regulate my breath so that it doesn't disturb me. Then pratyahar, I withdraw all my sense organs inwards. Pratyahar, all the sense organs I detach from all the thoughts. All the thoughts I leave behind. And then dharana. So dharana, I fix my mind on one divine scene or object from the scriptures. Vishnu Murti, Krishna, Leela, so all those different things. I fix myself and I just focus there only. Then, then dhyan. So in dhyan, I then move on to seeing myself for that essence. So there I focus on the Mahavakyam or any kind of thought where I am able to absorb myself into my nature. And then finally Samadhi, where the practice of that thought reaches the level where the thought itself drops. And then I am in the state of pure, calm, peace. So this Samadhi Dasha is where I am able to grasp that pure nature of mind. And what about the other side? Evam Sarvagyatva Adi Vishisht Ishvaraha Tatpad Vachyartha. So again, we are doing the same exercise with Ishvara also. So there, what is Ishvara? Sarvagyatva Adi Vishishta Ishvara. So Ishvara with all those qualities like omniscience, all-knowing, all powerful, and so on. So all of the highest powers reside in Ishvara. So there, that is the Tatpad Vachyartha. The Vachyartha of Tat. Tat is that. So that Ishvara or that Paramatma, the Vachyartha represents all his qualities with that. So if we see the definition of Ishvara, it is given in different places. So there he has Aishwaryasya Samagrasya. He has all the Aishwarya of the world. Then He has all the knowledge, he has all the vairagya, and so on. So there are six qualities. So sometime we'll look there. So that Ishvara is with all his qualities is the Vachyartha. Huh? That is the Tatpad Vachyartha. Then what we do again, we separate Upadhi Shunya Shuddha Chaitanyam Tatpad Lakshartha. So what is the indicated meaning? The that original Ishvara, I remove all his upadhis. So all the three bodies of Ishvara, the Sthul Prapanch, Sukshma Prapanch, Karan Prapanch, I remove. They are merely distorting mediums. They are merely distorting mediums. So I remove that. And what is left again? Upadhi Shunya, Shuddha Chaitanyam, the pure consciousness only remains. That is the Lakshartha of Ishvara. So I am equating now Lakshartha with Lakshartha. है ना? So their Lakshartha is Upadhi Shunya, Shuddha Chaitanyam. Here Lakshartha is Upadhi Shunya, Shuddha Chaitanyam. Thus the equation is satisfied. So what does he say? Evam cha Jiveshwarayoho Chaitanya Rupena Abhede Badhaka Bhavaha. So in this way, there is no contradiction now. The Ekyam, the unity between Jiva and Ishvara is established. Is established in what way? Chaitanya Rupena. In the form of consciousness. Both are consciousness itself. And Abhede. So Abhede, there is no difference, bhed, there is no separation, right? And Badhaka Abhava. No way can that difference be now negated. You are very clear with that difference, with that similarity, or with that union, or with that oneness. Once the contradictions are removed, the Mahavakya has revealed, and it is going to be shining in our memory always from that on. So there, in this way, एवं च वेदांत वाक्ये हि सद्गुरु उपदेशेन च सर्वेष्वपि भूतेषु येषां ब्रह्म बुद्धिर उत्पन्ना ते जीवन मुक्ता इत्यर्थः. So this person who has got this knowledge, who is he? He is a Jivan Mukta. He is a liberated being. How is he liberated? Evam cha Vedanta Vakya, by listening to the Vedanta Vakya, the knowledge given in the scriptures, and Sadguru Updeshayana. Don't do it yourself. You will reach all kinds of weird, wrong interpretations, and then you will keep quarreling with each other. Advaita says this, Dvaita says this, Vishishta Dvaita says. You will always be perpetually confused. So you have to go through someone who knows the knowledge. Otherwise, again and again, you will keep on studying. You will not reach a final conclusion. So Sadguru Updeshena, someone who has studied himself under a good guru, and now he is able to teach you. Cha sarveshu api bhuteshu yesham brahma buddhi utpannam. For that person, in his vision, all the beings, sarveshu bhuteshu, all the beings are Brahman itself. Nothing is separate from that Brahman. So that Brahma buddhi utpanna, that knowledge is born or arises within that person. So that is the Jivan Mukta. So again the question will arise, who is the Jivan Mukta? So that will come to in the next. We'll just see a little bit more of this part also in the next class. Just I'd like to expand a little bit more. So for today now we'll wind up. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते. ओम शांति शांति शांति. हरि ओम. श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः. हरि ओम. ओम तत्सत्.